Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with my land numbers. I've got this deck here, it's called Did I Start the Fires? And I had 62 cards in it, and only two of them were extra spells. Okay, let me just put it that way. I had 24 lands like I normally do. And I think I would like another island right now. And I kept getting Monostarve. A little too often for my own liking. So I broke down and put 2 more lands in. So now it's a 64 card deck. And my last match I drew nothing but lands. So I don't know what to do anymore. No matter what I do, it's wrong. No matter what I do, I get punished. Just the way it is. They've got 3 colors at least. Usually the one that's content to sit and wait is blue. So I'm wondering if this is like a big board wipe deck or something. Most of this happens to be reactive. Ah, Phyrexian Poison. How much did that cost him? 4? Go back up. Triskaidekaphile. Trying to figure out, do I have... I think I have one of these right now. We can kick this now finally, right? You go back up into your deck. How many cards do they have now? 9? If they don't have a land, they can cast this thing again, but they're still going to have to discard a card. Ah, so they change it up. Slaughter Singer. And they throw away the Might Overseer. Okay. Well, you can cast that, so how about we just do this? Make you a 1/1. And then I'm going to put this on Trisky, and we're going to attack. And they take the damage, and we get to draw a card. And look, it's a land. I guess I'll keep Geistwave handy in case they want to kill Trisky and I just want to save it. Cankerbloom, so they can destroy the enchantment if they want. Right away. You know what I can do, though? I can return that to my hand and draw a card. I like that idea better. I'll take the 2 poison to start with. Put down a blocker. Put down a land. That one. Go ahead and attack with those 2. Draw another card. And keep it just in case I'm dealing with board wipes. Phyrexian cards have that white spell, the Twilight spell, that does all sorts of disgusting stuff. Let's do Jin-Gitaxias now. And let's do Inspired Idea now. We copy the spell, so we draw 6 cards. That feels good. And then I can attack with Storm Skrillex. And they just scoop. Sweet. Well, that was my idea right there. Worked out perfectly. Cut. That's a wrap. We're done. That's the whole video. Alright, let's go ahead and show you the whole deck. Welcome to Tpull's Corner, everyone. I am Travis. Remember to like and subscribe. This deck is called Did I Start the Fires? ? And the picture on the sleeve is Fires of Victory, because when I'm playing red and blue, it's my favorite removal card. You deal 6-7 damage up front sometimes, and if you kick it, it just replaces itself. So that's cool. So again, 64 cards. Average mana cost is 2.6, so we're actually a little bit cheaper than average. And 26 lands. I would have like 6 turns where I was getting 0 land, so I threw in a couple more lands. I threw in 1 extra island and 1 surgical bay, and that's the latest addition that I made. And so, of course, my last match, I drew like 10 lands and 4 spells or something. It was really bad. But that kind of stuff is normal for Arena. So here's the rest of the deck. What I did was I put in 4 copies of Triskaidekaphile because we have no maximum hand size, and that way it gives us an alternate win scenario. If the battle goes badly for us, we can just draw to have 13 cards in our hand at the beginning of our upkeep, and we win. To help us out with card draw, I have 3 copies of Inspired Idea from Innistrad. If I don't pay the full 5 cleave cost, then normally you draw 3 cards and the brackets apply. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 3 for the rest of the game, so you can only have 4 cards in your hand. If I do it while Triskaidekaphile is on the field, though, I have no maximum hand size, so it doesn't matter. And so there's a risk, because if I don't cast the cleave cost and Triska gets killed later, then at the end of my turn I have to discard down to 4 cards, no matter what I had in my hand before. So if I get this later in the game, I'll go ahead and pay the cleave cost. If I get it early and Triski's out on the field, I may risk it and just pay the 3 and draw 3 cards and see if I can win the game that way. But because we get 3 cards for 3 mana, there's not really a better card in the game for card draw if you can do that. So having Triski out on the field ahead of time and casting this is fun. And you just saw me get Jin-Gitaxias down, and then we had Triski down, and we cast that, and we actually got 6 cards for only 3 mana, which is bonus. So that's kind of why Jin-Gitaxias is in the deck, for stuff like that. Going through the rest of it, the 1-drops, we have an Offer You Can't Refuse, counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. We have 2 Combat Research. If we put them on a legendary creature like Jin-Gitaxias, or Najal the Storm Runner, or, Balmor Battle Mage Captain, or Vadrik Astral Archmage. So we have 4 targets for that. Anyway, if it's legendary, it gets +1/+1 and has Ward 1, but whenever the creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So another place for card draw there. 1 Witness Protection to make the enchanted creature lose all their abilities. They become a 1/1. We have 1 March of Reckless Joy. This I like to play at the end of my opponent's turn, and depending on how desperate I am, if I'm about to die, will determine how many cards I draw. You can play up to 2 of the cards, so maybe you're looking to draw 2, 3, 4 cards and expecting some to be lands. Maybe you desperately need a land. Maybe you don't need a land, and so you don't mind losing it at that point, but you want to draw extra cards. Maybe all you need is 1 specific card, and you have like 10 mana, and you just know you need 3 mana to cast it, so you'll spend like 7 mana cast a spell, you'll draw 6 cards, and hoping that the 1 card you need is among the 6 that you just drew, that kind of thing. It's a fun card. A little bit of chaos involved with it. 1 Torch Breath, costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue permanent, and the spell can't be countered. So you could actually do 2 damage on turn 1 if you have just 1 red mana source if you're hitting a blue opponent creature. Fairy Vandal, you can flash it in. Whenever you draw your 2nd card, you put a +1/+1 counter on the Fairy Vandal. So it's really fun to put Combat Research on the Fairy Vandal and let the Fairy Vandal sort of pump itself up as it hits the opponent. We have 4 Geist Waves to return permanent to its owner's hand. We could do this on our own creatures as well, our enchantments as you just saw, and draw a card. So there's another potential card draw. With Triski, you can spend 4 mana to draw a card. an Academy Lore Master at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player may draw an additional card. However, if you do this one, the spell can cast 2 more to cast. So this one can be tricky. Maybe you can force your opponent to discard something if they try and take advantage of it and draw more early on. Sometimes it's better used for us later in the game. Sometimes we just want to hold it in our hand. The Fires of Victory. If it was kicked, you draw the card. Otherwise, it deals damage to target creature or planeswalker. That can be important, equal to the number of cards in your hand. For other kicker cards, this is from Dominaria. This is from Dominaria. They made a heavy use of the kicker mechanic in that expansion. G2 Amplifier. When it's kicked, target creature the opponent controls returns to its owner's hand. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, the amplifier gets +2 until end of turn. 1 copy of Arcane Infusion. Look at the top 4 cards of our library. Get an instant or sorcery. It has flashback. Balmor. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, all creatures you control get +1 and gain trample. That can help win games. We covered Inspired Idea. Vadric triggers the Day and Night of Innistrad, and every time he becomes 1 more powerful, instants and sorceries cost 1 less. When Wandering Mind. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature, non-land card, put it into your hand. And Micromancer. 3/3 human wizard. When it enters the battle, search your library for an instant or sorcery card with mana value 1, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle. We only have, I think these count, right? We have March of Reckless Joy, Torch Breath, and an Offer You Can't Refuse. Those are the only 3 cards we're looking for. If we have, a couple of them before Micromancer comes in, there's only 1 left to do. But these are kind of get out of jail free cards, right? An Offer You Can't Refuse, they get 2 creature tokens. So it's kind of something to be used just if like they're going to target your creature and you really want to save your creature, or they're about to do a board wipe and you want to stop the board wipe, that kind of thing. March of Reckless Joy, again, as I said, that's when you get desperate. Sometimes this can be a life-saving card. You go fish for something to save you. If this is your choice with Micromancer, you put Micromancer down. Hopefully you have 1 more turn to use it. And then, of course, Torch Breath is just creature removal, right? We have 2 board wipes, as usual, with Burn Down the House. A 3rd one with Temporal Firestorm, which I love to combine with Vastral Archmage and phase Vadric out and save Vadric and kill everything else. 1 Storm Skrillex, Drake Horror, 2/4. Flying. Instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery spell, Storm Skrillex gets +2 until end of turn, just like the plus-ups of the Amplifier and the Balmor. And Najal the Stormrunner, legendary free wizard, 5/4. You can cast sorcery spells as though they had flash, and whenever it attacks, you can pay 2. If you do your next instant or sorcery, you can copy it and choose new targets for the copy. And finally, Jin-Gitaxias, which people should be familiar with by now. He's kind of infamous. Anyway, if I went too fast through that, just pause the video, look at the cards to your heart's content. The deck list is published below. The theme of this deck kind of is I like to take 1 copy of each of the multicolored cards I have for red and blue from the different expansions and add them all together into 1 deck. So you see that I've got a lot of the red and blue, red and blue, red and blue. I got the idea of Triskaidekaphile and using Inspired Idea to sort of cheat. I don't know if cheat's the right word, but to get around the brackets, without paying the cleave cost if I needed to, if it made sense during the battle. And that's kind of the general theme. We're going to take it out for a spin. We're going to see how much more of the deck we can demonstrate. That first one was pretty good. Having Gitaxias down along with Triskaidekaphile and being able to cast Inspired Idea really showcases you the potential power within the set, within the deck. We won't necessarily get everything in the right order that we want all the time, but hopefully we don't get mana starved again. And again, sometimes they treat these X cards as if they're the most powerful card in your hand, and that's yet another time. This is the only card that I don't want to see, and it's the 1 card they gave me. So they're irritating me there with that. They've already got a draw card they can do. Fight rigging. Okay. That could be a problem for us. March of Reckless Joy doesn't work with Fairy Vandal because you're exiling cards, you're not drawing cards. Shall I just throw caution to the wind and draw some cards? They're not missing a land drop. Let's go ahead and draw 3 cards. We'll exile 3 cards. They can counter this if they want. We only get to cast 2 of the 3. I'm hoping 1 is a land. 2 are lands. Okay, can we get 3, 4, 5? Okay, so I can cast Field of Rune, play Field of Rune anyway, and cast Najal. And we only lose 1 land out of the deal. So it kind of worked out. And they let it down. They do have something that they can just hold up priority. It's got to be more than just drawing an extra card, right? Ooh, Gitaxias is fun. What do you want to do? Let you go up. Exile. Okay. I don't have anything else that I want to cast as a spell. Can they pump up their legitimate business person now? Or are they going to take 6 points of damage? They block. Oh, they just dies. Blue Sun's Twilight. But it's tapped. And they didn't want to wait for my next act. They knew they didn't have enough going on there. They did okay with land. Maybe their spells were too powerful? Plated Onslaught. Somebody killed me with that once. They managed to cast 2 copies in 1 turn. It was horrible. I felt violated. Alright, I don't have a 1-drop, so we play the tapped land. I feel like we should put down Battlemore, Balmore, Battle Mage while we can. They can scry now if they want to. Seeing 5 lands makes me want to hold on to Fires of Victory until I can kick it. So I don't really feel the need to use removal on a 0/3 creature. And they start the scrying. And if they put together a good enough deck, they've got enough proliferation in there to keep putting more oil counters on it. Because once it goes to 0, right, you can't do any effectiveness with proliferating it. Let's put that down. Let's go ahead and do combat research. Here's where we find out if they have counter spells or not. Okay, now he has Ward 1. And the extra draw is going to help with Fires of Victory. And making sure I don't miss a land drop. So I don't play the Maestro's Theater next, because I want to be able to kick Fires of Victory. I'm going to play the untapped land. You know what? They're tapped out. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so we can put down Trisky. We can delay this. They may like it, right? Because they get more lands. But the thing is, they're up to 8 now, so they're going to be at 9. Let's see, 8, 7. If they cast this, they're going to end up with getting 2 extra lands. They're going to have to discard 2, right? Okay, I feel okay with putting down tap land now. I don't think they're going to put down a creature that we immediately need to kill this turn. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it would have been better to kill that. Okay, so we kick this, kill it now. It puts down a 5/5 land creature. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna put down the island so that way I can counter the next thing it tries to do. And they use their last oil counter. So they just have a 0/3 blocker. Does it make sense to bother with that? If they do that, do I let it go? No, I don't let it go. Maybe they can cast something else now. But we stopped that tree branch from coming down. So it was going to be like a 7/7 or an 8/8. They didn't attack. You did not attack. I kind of like that. Academy Lore Master. You can draw an extra card if you want. They do not. They want to cast something this turn. Maybe they want to cast 2 spells this turn to catch up. Hullbreaker Horror. Not cool, man. If they want to return Balmore, they've got to pay the ward cost. They've got to burn their final treasure. It's worth it to them. Okay, what do I do? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Kick it. You go back up. I attack with what I got. If they want to bring down the horror, they can't take the extra draw. I don't need to do any of that. I just need to put witness protection on them. Problem solved. No need to attack. Have you ever seen a Kraken horror turned into a legitimate business person? 78211. It's kind of cool. I like it. Where's your suit and tie? Now, do we bother hitting them, or let's see, Thronebreaker of Silence. Can't be the target of non-green spells. Okay. They throw back the Hullbreaker Horror. Nice for them. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and cast this for the cleave cost. Didn't quite get what I wanted. Ah, they don't wait for me to decide what I'm going to do. They just really didn't have enough extra land out to take advantage of the Hullbreaker Horror. It was good they managed to get them back. That was nice. But after that much card draw, in me taking before I was casting cards fairly quickly, the moment that I slowed down with that many cards and still some open mana, they've got to be worried. And I didn't really have a devastating plan right away. I was going to just rearrange my lands to make sure my lands were all on one side so that I could see what I really had. They did not want to wait for that. So yet again, Jin-Gitaxias and Inspired Idea with Trisky shows up on the pattern on the board. Would you go to get your fortune told from that kind of psychic? If you've ever been to Sedona, Arizona, there's a number of shops where they'll do tarot readings. There's at least one person there that looks like that, suspiciously. Okay, do we have... I don't think we need to worry about anything yet, so let's go get a second blue mana source. Toxic 2. Go away. Alright, Phyrexian deck, here we come. This is where we usually lose. Whenever the latest expansion comes out, they get all the nice cards. Look at that. So even if I get rid of the Toxic on that one, they're still going to end up with Toxic with the equipment. And Amplifier's not going to be enough as soon as that's equipped to do anything against it. So do I do nothing? Save witness protection for something else? That's gonna be rough with the poison counters. I needed one of the fires of protection, really. I needed removal already. I didn't get it. They're running a lot of dual color lands, so I'm betting there's a Phyrexian Obliterator in here. What'd that one do? It has Toxic 2, so now they're at 5 already. Wow. That's pretty bad. Alright. We can kick it at least. Didn't really help us that much, did it? Maybe I should have put the amplifier down and just bounced it. That probably would have been a better move. Yeah, I'm gonna die quickly. These things are not helpful right now. Witness protection doesn't work against artifacts that give toxic. And that's got haste, right? I mean, I guess a board... Oh, they still had enough mana to pay for that. Oh, it's only equip 1? That's kind of overpowered, isn't it? It only costs 1, and it only costs 1 to... I thought it would cost at least 2 to equip. It gives you +2 for toughness and toxic. That's a cheap enchantment, or a cheap artifact. Alright, as always, the new expansion is Phyrexia. Anytime there's a new expansion out, it does well against the current environment. Whether it's supposed to or not. I mean, we could have had any one of our 3 board wipes pop up. We could have had a good blocker at that point. We didn't get any of the cards that would have really helped us the most, but it's possible, maybe I misplayed, that I could have just kicked the Gitu and then did the Fires of Victory. So I don't have a lot of confidence with all the creatures that they have. I mean, they had another 3/3 haste toxic, so even if we got around that first one better, I think we still would have died. I wonder how much Mill is back with Jace. I am seeing a lot more of these 250 card decks in the current environment. There was quite a while where we just really didn't see these in Modern Standard. What do we want to do against that? I guess we'll just put out our flying blocker ourselves. And is this an entirely flying evasion type deck? We shall see. Do I put combat research on this? It is legendary and it gives me ward 1. I think that's worthwhile. They're looking at it like they have something already they can use to get rid of it. They're going to actually destroy it now. Interesting. I'll draw the card. Okay, 6 lands and 6 spells. I don't want to use Witness Protection on a 1/1 or a 2/1. What else you got? like a swarm deck. A lot of puny stuff going on there. Would be better if I could get one of my board wipes soon. That's what we want to get rid of. Right there. They choose a creature. I can't get anything back from my graveyard, so we're fine on that front. Okay, I can kick this now, so I think we just get rid of the Illuminator. E2 gets pumped up. And we go get a life. Something good advice for all Magic players. Go get a life. It's never bad advice. And we don't waste the amplifier's amplified power when we get a chance. But we are close to get another creature, and it's flying. And they're going to say don't untap. Ah, excellent. Right on time. Okay, 3 for 5, so I guess I need to go ahead and play that, and then we play this, and everybody goes away. And what else can we get? Inspired idea. Alright. Heron of Hope. Heron of Hope. Need Torch Breath. We don't have Triskaidekaphile, so we're going to pay the full cost for that. They can just bring it down again, right? Alright, here. Burn down the house. That works for me. Do you want to enchant your creature? They do! Don't know why. You see I've got to burn down the house. And you don't have trample. And I doubt you have a 1-mana counterspell. So we're just going to do this again. A 1-1. Are we afraid of a 1-1? I think not. Let's go get some cards. Okay, I'm kind of glad that I did that now, because if they put out a big creature and I thought I was safe, I would have been in a lot of trouble later. I'm going to kick the Illusionist because they don't have green to kick it, so they can't get any extra value out of that. And then we'll just hit them for a point. Draw a card. Okay. They got me down low, but I feel confident. Blue? Blue, I think. Let that through. And now we have options. Really? I have Najal right there. It's 5-4. Alright, we will auto pay. Next to damage. They take the damage. We pay all 5. I should have done it earlier and pumped up the Gitu amplifier, so that's a misplay on my part. But we get a lot of cards. And I'm done. Because I want to play Fairy Vandal when they attack me. You're not going to attack me? There we go. Lethal. Okay, so I didn't need to draw the card. I had lethal already. I'm bad with math today. But we're getting more cards. Alright, I think we'll leave it there. That's a good demonstration of this deck concept. I kind of like playing with this. I like playing with Triska Decaphile. I really liked getting out the boost with Jin Gitaxias and having the double of Inspired Idea for the card draw. I have 4 copies of Micromancer. I think I've made another deck that has all 4 copies, and that I make a really good use of bringing out those Mono Value 1 cards. Actually, as strange as it seems, I like having her in this deck, even though I only have a couple of choices here. I've played matches, a couple of them now, where just getting to place Micromancer down and bringing out an offer you can't refuse really tilts the balance of the game for me. So it's a nice little tactic, I guess you'd call it. If you've got blue, consider doing something like that in your deck. It's really got, when it hits, it's really got an outsized impact on the game. It can. And I don't know what I'd say from that. I like getting the gel down for a change and having that. It's a lot of times when you get a 5/4 creature down, they are ready for it for removal. So it's not often that I get the gel down on the field, manage to actually use it, and have enough mana, pay the extra 2, and cast an instant or sorcery. But there was also good again for things like card draw, like Inspired Idea. So having 3 copies, I think 4 might be too many possibly, but having 3 and having 4 copies of Triska Decaphile made sure that you had Triski often enough that, you know, she was present enough so that if we needed to cast this for just 3, we could have done it. And here we have all these different options to double the draw card advantage. Really, I think the magic, pardon the pun, in this particular deck is having that draw card advantage. And including, even though I don't like getting Reckless Joy up front, and I like having the option of casting it for a lot more later, casting it when I did, I think, was probably the right move. So I got to get used to just making what I can of these X spells and being willing to cast them at a much lower casting cost than my original plans are. I've always been bad about that, where sort of like with the kicker cost, I don't want to cast it if I can't kick it. Sometimes you really need to just cast it at the moment. Same with X spells. I'm always trying to hold on to them longer, and that can be a weakness in your matches. So things for me to watch out for, and just some little advice for newer players if you haven't thought along those lines yet. But let me know your impression of the deck. Let me know if you do anything different. Let me know if anybody's doing something with Micromancer along the lines of this, where you only have just a couple of choices, but they're very intentional, and they're there for a reason. You know, I could have put another creature in there. I put her in there specifically for something like this. And let me know what you think of that idea. And was this an inspired idea? I know it's not new. I know there's probably other content out there that has inspired idea combined with something like Triskaidekaphile, or maybe in Historic you could do Wizard class that also says you have no maximum hand size, or like if you do the Ultimate on Mordenkainen, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different cards where you get rid of your maximum hand size, right? Where it's you have no maximum hand size. So if you want to bring this into Historic, you can look at some different cards that give you the possibility of combining there and making sure you don't have to worry about the brackets there to reduce your own hand size. We will leave it there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.